Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are so glad that you could join us once again for our daily English Flash News edition. I'm Daniel Cook, your host, as usual, Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m., presenting you a translated version of today's top news stories. In today's news, the OSCE ODIHR has begun its mission for monitoring the local election process. In a press conference, the chairwoman, Audrey Glover, said that a monitoring team composed of 13 experts has been sent to Tirana. Mrs. Glover reminded the politicians that the election process does not only take place on the election day, but throughout the electoral campaign. She said, "Our experts will be focused on the implementation of the law and on the procedures during the election day, especially those that are related to the counting of the votes. We will be focused on the electoral campaigns and on any possible pressures on the voters or attempt to steal the votes and on the media coverage of the whole process and on the resolution of the electoral disputes." She also highlighted the fact that the OSCE will speak only facts, including whether there are any candidates that have criminal records. She said that regardless of the objections of the right-wing party in 2009, the mission will cooperate with all political forces. This is the third time that Audrey Glover has headed the OSCE observation mission. The mission will monitor the elections using 24 long-term observers and 250 short-term observers. Unlike the past elections, the mission will not have a political co-director. The High Inspectorate for the Declaration and Audit of Assets has filed charges with the General Prosecution against Tom Doshi, the former MP of the Socialist Party. The inspectorate accuses Tom Doshi of money laundering and concealing his assets. The inspectorate says that an audit of the period between 2005 and 2014 revealed the following criminal activities: concealment of wealth, false statements about assets worth 14 million euro, fictitious contracts, suspicious bank transfers without financial or legal basis, and money laundering inside and outside of the country. The High Inspectorate for the Declaration and Audit of Assets has also accused the former director of the inspectorate of concealing Doshi's files and failing to send them to the prosecution. Tom Doshi is already under investigation for perjury. On May 13th, during the inauguration of the new mosque, the Turkish President Erdogan said that he asked the Albanian president and the prime minister to close down all terrorist structures in the country. Specifically, he referred to a number of schools that are funded by a man named Fethullah Gulen, who is Erdogan's political and religious rival. Today, the Minister of Education, Nikolla, implied that the Albanian schools that are financed by Gulen will not be closed down. When asked by journalists whether the schools will be shut down, the minister said, "The Ministry of Education has a responsibility to verify all the legal criteria for the schools. We have reported to the public about the schools that did not respect the legal criteria, and those schools that did not respect the law were closed down. The others are functioning according to the law," said the minister. Yesterday, the socialist MP Ben Blushi spoke out against the statements of the Turkish president, saying that he cannot ask for the closure of the Albanian schools that are financed by Gulen in exchange for funding the new mosque in Tirana. The government operation to control the quality of fuel has led to the arrest of 6 gas station administrators. The Minister of Economic Development, Ahmetaj, presented the results of the audits conducted in the past 10 days. 122 gas stations have been checked between May 4th and May 14th, he said. 4 gas stations were fined 750,000 lek. 40 gas stations are being investigated for hiding assets, and 5 of them are also accused of smuggling. 6 owners have been arrested, 2 are wanted, and 26 are being investigated at large, said Mr. Ahmetaj. He warned that there will be no tolerance for those who violate the law. The fuel sector in Albania is often considered to be problematic because of poor quality, but it appears that there is a great deal of fiscal evasion as well. The Executive Board of the International Monetary Fund has completed their 4th review of Albania's economic performance. The completion of the review allows an immediate disbursement of about 35.9 million euro, bringing the total disbursements to 153.1 million. The following report was issued by the IMF. All performance criteria for the end of December 2014 were met with comfortable margins. All but one structural benchmark was implemented. Economic recovery is underway in Albania, but growth remains below potential. High non-performing loans are making banks adverse to risk, and credit growth remains sluggish, despite monetary easing. The authorities need to shield the 2015 budget deficit target from the risk of falling oil royalties and external disinflationary pressures. Reducing public debt over the medium term will require political commitment to sustain the significant fiscal consolidation, which began in 2014. The central bank's cautious monetary easing is broadly appropriate. Addressing the high stock of non-performing loans is crucial for reviving credit. The focus on the fastest growing segments of the banking system is appropriate as well. Regulatory gaps in non-bank supervision should be filed promptly. While the early results from the authority's ambitious power sector reform have been impressive, sustaining the effort is critical. The Executive Board approved a 36-month arrangement for Albania on February 28, 2014, in an amount of around €367.5 million, which is 492.4% of the country's quota in the fund. The data from the past 4 months shows an increase in the budget revenue, but what is striking is that taxes and customs fell short of the plan, suffering a reduction of 1%. The value-added tax has undergone the greatest reduction, indicating an economic slowdown. Revenues in the state budget for the first 4 months of 2015 are generally positive. The total income during January through April was 121 billion lek, with an increase of 4.2% annually. Non-tax revenues and the special fund have contributed to the increase. According to representatives of the Economic Ministry, the reduction of the revenue from the VAT has been affected by the exclusion of machinery from this tax. The data found that the revenues from the VAT declined by 9%, which is 37 billion lek. The income tax and the excise tax have both increased during this period of time. The growth of the revenue in the budget has decreased the deficit compared to 1 year ago. The LGBTI community held a peaceful protest today outside of the Prime Ministry building. The protest was against discrimination against lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transsexuals, and intersexuals. They called the government to offer them safer environments, including schools, hospitals, offices, and businesses. For the upcoming International Day Against Homophobia and Transphobia, which is on May 17th, the LGBTI community has launched a series of awareness-raising actions for bringing the rights and freedoms of people from the LGBTI community to the attention of the Prime Minister. They called the Prime Minister to protect their rights, telling him that it is his duty to protect the LGBTI youth and to offer them a better life in their own country. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the news for this evening. Thank you for joining us. Please be with us again tomorrow at the same time for more translated news in English. Thanks, and have a great night.